It's bounce back week for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Their unbeaten season snatched away by LSU last Saturday in the matchup of 1 versus 2 in Tuscaloosa. Trent Richardson was most of the Tide offense in that one and continues his Heisman candidacy tonight. Alabama's mammoth linebackers have led the charge for the Tide's top-ranked defense. Starkville can be a tough place to get healthy. The Bulldogs quarterback tandem of Ralph and Russell have led them to 3 wins in their last 4 outings, and tonight they search for an upset win. It's a big night for Dan Mullen against Nick Saban's number 3 Tide. It's the SEC on ESPN. Our matchup, the Crimson Tide of Alabama and the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, is next. Welcome to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Hampton Hotels. It brings us to Starkville, Mississippi, and Davis Wade Stadium, where tonight, number 3 Alabama on the road in a tough place to play against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. And as you take a look at the BCS standings, it's loaded with SEC teams, including 2 of the top 3. Of course, LSU still on top. Alabama only slipped to 3rd after that loss to the Tigers. And Arkansas still has a lot to say about what's going to happen the rest of the season in the SEC and who will play in Atlanta for the title game. Welcome, everybody. Brad Nessler with my partner, Todd Blackledge. And Ledge, after that very physical pounding game they played against LSU last week, and an emotional one too. I think the whole country is trying to see what Alabama will do and if they can bounce back tonight.
Yeah, how will they respond? I think those BCS rankings that we just showed the audience should have given them a little extra motivation because they're still right where they need to be. I think their formula, there's no different tonight. You keep playing great defense. They're the best in the country in all 4 major categories, and you feed the ball early to the best player on the field, running back Trent Richardson. The more Mississippi State has to commit extra bodies to the line to stop him, that'll open up the play-action passing game for some big plays down the field.
It's been kind of an up-and-down season for the Bulldogs of Mississippi State as Alabama takes the field here on the road. Dan Mullen in his 3rd season as head coach. They've had some close losses that they feel they could have won. They had only 1 conference win in 5 outings, but this would be a gigantic feather in their caps or their helmets, as it were, if they could pull off a stunner here at home tonight. And here come the Bulldogs. They only lost by 2 points to South Carolina. They played 3 tough quarters against LSU and only trailed by a field goal going into the 4th quarter. So what do they have to do to pull off the stunner tonight?
Well, they got to do 2 things. Number 1, they've got to find a way to run the football. Easier said than done. Only 2 teams, Penn State and LSU, have gained over 100 yards. And they've got to win the turnover battle. Since Dan Mullen's been the head coach here, they're 15-0 in games when they win the turnover battle.
Well, we're about to find out if they can win that battle and if they can pull off an upset at home. Mississippi State and Alabama. We'll hear from Holly, and we'll kick it off when we come back.
ESPN College Football Primetime. Brought to you by E-Trade. Investing Unleashed. Expedia, the best travel tools are all in one place. Where you book matters. Expedia. And Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores.
The dog walk a couple hours ago here in Starkville. Great night for football. 60 degrees and a little breeze. And number 3 member of our team on the field is Holly Rowe. Holly.
Well, when you're talking about how will Alabama respond after that game last week, guys, people we talked to said it was very physical. One player said it was like 18-wheelers crashing into each other over and over again. As a result, there's some injuries to be concerned about. Marquise Mays, their fantastic kick returner and wide receiver, had a twisted foot. But guys, watching him in warm-ups, he looked sharp. He could cut and do everything he needed to do. Drake Kirkpatrick, the starting corner, got a concussion, but he practiced all week, and he was in with the ones on defense all through warm-ups. Brad Smelly, their tight end, looks fine after getting banged up. But the one area of concern, someone that Trent Richardson calls their team MVP, Barrett Jones, their starting left tackle, does not look like he can is heavily bandaged. He came out, tried to give it a go, guys, but after he put some work in on it, I said, do you think you can play? And he said, no. So that is a huge loss. They will have their right guard back up. Alfred McCullough switch over to that spot, start at left tackle tonight, guys.
All right, Holly. Alabama won the toss, and they want the football, so they'll receive. And as Holly said, Marquise Mays looked ready to go. He's ready to go as one of the return men, along with Darius Hanks. Pasquale's kickoff is going to go in the corner of the end zone. And Alabama will start from the 20-yard line. Take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players for tonight. Trent Richardson, we talked about him, over 1,000 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns already on the season. Dante Hightower, one of those two mammoth linebackers I talked about in the open. And he and Upshaw are a load on that side of the ball, as well as Mark Barron, two-time captain, right now with a couple of interceptions. And he will hit you in that secondary. Quarterback, A.J. McCarron, the sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Perfect in road starts. The only blemish, a loss at home last week. And he's going to throw on first down. And on the first snap, got it out to Hanks, but he got put down immediately by Broomfield after a pickup of only a couple.
Jim McElwain, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, and watching these guys on tape, they like to throw on first down. They like play action pass. It's good for pass protection. It also is a safer down for a young quarterback to throw. So look for them to throw on early downs off of play action, but Trent Richardson is still the key. And
Todd, right after that catch, Darius Hanks limped off the field. There goes another playmaker, maybe. Second down and 8. And here's Richardson, and he's stopped for a loss by the swarming Bulldog defense.
And that's the way you have to tackle this guy. He still didn't go on the ground. I mean, he is a very difficult guy to get down to the ground, but you've got to get a lot of bodies at him and stop him before he gets past the line of scrimmage.
Fletcher Cox was the first guy to meet him, and he's the mainstay on that defensive front. There he is, number 94, the 300-pounder who's had a sensational season. So immediately Alabama finds itself in 3rd and long. McCarron across the middle, threw it a little bit behind DeAndre White. Probably should have caught it, but he may not have gotten the first down anyway.
Good defensive possession to start this game for the Bulldogs. They showed pressure on that 3rd down, then backed out and only rushed 3 and forced the underneath throw.
So Alabama 3 and outs. Cody Mandel will have to punt. And back deep, Jonathan Banks, one of 2 guys we may see in punt return formation tonight. He's a dangerous one. Also starting defensive back, but he has a punt return for a touchdown this year. Snaps a little bit high. And the punt is high and relatively short. Fair catch. And now it's going to take an Alabama bounce, and that's going to help them about 12 to 13 extra yards on the hop. 13-21, first quarter, no score. Mississippi State on offense as we take a look at their impact players presented by Chick-fil-A. Vic Ballard leads the way. 7 touchdowns, almost 6 yards a carry. They'll need a lot of him tonight. Fletcher Cox, just talked about him on the last series, had a big tackle. He leads them in sacks as well. And on the back end, Jonathan Banks, who just got out of the way of that punt. But as I mentioned, 5 interceptions. That's tied for 4th in the country. Here's Chris Ralph. He'll get the start. We'll see both quarterbacks for the Bulldogs tonight. Ballard bulldozes his way for maybe 3. And Josh Chapman on the defensive line made the stop.
Chris Ralph, the better runner of the 2 quarterbacks. Tyler Russell, the better thrower. That doesn't mean he can't run and Ralph can't throw, but that's just what their strength is. And the play calling package changes and shifts a little bit that way based on who's in the game.
Here's a pistol set for Ralph. He's going to get hit before he can get rid of it. And it was Courtney Upshaw, one of the linebackers we talked about, a loss of 7 on the sack.
Upshaw moves around a lot. He puts his hand on the ground quite a bit. They even used a back to try to chip on him, but it didn't slow him down. Addison Lawrence, the right tackle, couldn't handle him. And Courtney Upshaw quickly into the backfield.
6.5 sacks on the season now with that one. And he leads the club in that category. And it puts Mississippi State in a tough spot on their first third down. It's going to get worse if their flag comes out. I think 77. James Carman might have jumped. Hubert Owens is our referee.
Before the snap, false start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Third down.
Well, it's hard enough to go forwards against this defense.
Yeah.
You don't want to help them by going backwards. I mean, coming into the game, Alabama, the top-ranked defensive football team in the country in all 4 major categories. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator. 3rd and 19 for Mississippi State. They're going to play it safe here and just worry about field position later.
Well, this is a field position game. Mississippi State is going into this with the idea of trying to make it a field position game. So you punt the football here and hope you can pin Alabama deep and play defense like you did on that first possession. This is a 60-minute game, and you've got to play smart and take care of the football. You hope it's a 60-minute game.
Exactly.
If you're Mississippi State.
They want to get to the 4th quarter first and then worry about the last 15. Swedenberg will punt, and that's Marquise Mays, who's got a touchdown on a punt return as well this year, an 83-yarder. And he has to get a fair catch called for and run up on it to make the diving catch near the 20-yard line. So both teams 3 and out. We'll see how Alabama does with their second offensive set when we come back. Last week we talked about the Alabama-LSU matchup. Not a lot of points, just a lot of physicality. Both turned it over twice when they're not used to doing that. The 4th SEC home loss ever under Nick Saban. And so Alabama trying to rebound here on the road tonight.
And really, I mean, Alabama moved the ball very well in that game, better than LSU did, but they had negative plays every time it seemed like they got into LSU territory. A lot of that credit goes to the Tiger defense, but Alabama moved the football.
And they had negative plays in overtime, and that really killed him. Here's Trent Richardson. And Trent, he's going to fight his way for 5 or so. Charles Mitchell was holding on for dear life. And Trent was most of the offense for Alabama in that aforementioned LSU matchup. 196 total yards, and the rest of the team had 129.
When anybody looks at the rushing numbers and says, well, he doesn't, you know, he's not in that Heisman hunt again.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, he had a great game against a great defensive football team.
He somehow managed almost 5 yards out of that last carry, and it looked like he was going to be stopped for 1. A lot of his yards come after contact. Here's some contact, and he's going nowhere. Again, it's about 7 Bulldogs there, and they looked like they were chewing on a piece of raw steak.
Well, that's the way, again, you have to play defense against this guy who breaks too many arm tackles. 45% of his yards come after the first contact. So you have to get additional bodies to him as quickly as possible. The first guy, just try to slow him up and hope that he's got help coming.
Fletcher Cox made the first contact, and then he did get help from a whole bunch of friends. And it's 3rd down, Alabama again. Here comes a blitz around the corner. Richardson's not even going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Charles Mitchell came around the back door. Josh Boyd on the inside helped the cause. And it's a second straight 3 and out for the Tide.
Well, they got penetration, but there was also a little bobble on the handoff. It disrupted the timing. You saw Richardson have to stop and wait for the ball, and he never got his momentum going, and they stopped him again.
So Mandel, probably the first time all year he's punted this often and this early. His second kick coming up on a 4th and 6.
And again, the field position edge right now in Mississippi State's favor.
Jonathan Banks again has to get out of the way and just bail out. This one won't roll quite as far as the first one did. And as Todd said, field position on the plus side, things looking up for Mississippi State. They'll be on offense for the second time in a minute.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Lexus. It's time to engineer amazing.
The Bulldog Bash. Dan Mullen spoke to the crowd. Jake Owen and the Vett brothers singing, and the attendance about 35,000. We got more than that here tonight. Packed house. Tyler Russell in at quarterback. So already the rotating quarterback system that we told you about. And this guy, as Todd said, the thrower of the two. He kind of smiled yesterday when I said, "Do you mind running?" He said, "No, not really." But he doesn't seem that enthused about it. This guy likes to run. Ballard. Courtney Upshaw knocked him off his feet, but he got 3.
Well, and because of that, I think against a team as good as Alabama that makes you earn everything, it might be a Tyler Russell run or a Chris Relf pass that can make a difference for this offense.
4 wide receiver group here for him. Some option. And a pitch to Ballard. Makes the cut and runs into that wall that is the Alabama defense. D. Milner that time with a hit.
See, last week in the LSU game, they faced 2 quarterbacks, and when Jordan Jefferson came in the game, it was that lead option that caused some problems for them. They got the ball on the edge, and even all the way into overtime. The key offensive play for LSU in overtime was an option into the boundary, and so right away Mississippi State testing that perimeter.
Russell on a quarterback draw, and he won't get back to the line of scrimmage. So 2 3-and-outs by each team.
Well, coming into the game, Alabama 63 and outs they forced in their first 9 games. Add 2 to that total now. and again, they make you earn everything. And so you have to kind of play that same kind of smart game and not help them. And again, field position is critical.
Last time, Swedenberg had a relatively short punt, and Marquise Mays had to hustle just to get to it. And here the rugby-style punts. And another line drive, and Mays takes this one on the fly. Marquise Mays spins his way across the 40. And Alabama will have good field position after a 17-yard punt return by Marquise Mays. The SEC on ESPN. We're scoreless so far here in Starkville. No score here. 7:28 remaining first quarter. Vinny Sunseri was hurt on that punt return, and they just walked him off. And this was what led to being walked off the field. Helmet to helmet, trying to block for Marquise Mays, and I think he was out for a little bit.
Yeah. And that's his dad, Sal Sunseri, who's a linebacker coach here for Alabama, was a great linebacker at the University of Pittsburgh. Played against him for a few years.
Alabama, their field position improved by that last exchange of punts. And they work from the 42-yard line. And they flip it out. White on the catch. And he picked up 8 yards as we head for the first time to Reese Davis. Reese.
Fred, time for a Taco Bell studio update. The first quadruple Big 12 conference game, quadruple overtime Big 12 conference game, won by Colin Klein in Kansas State. His 5th rushing touchdown. 53-50 the final, and Texas A&M, by the way, said double-digit leads in 4 of their 5 losses. On ESPNU, LSU's having a little hangover problem as well.
Right now, Alabama trying to shake theirs, and Trent Richardson's got a first down on a 5-yard gain and into Mississippi State territory.
And this is the area where I would anticipate Alabama possibly going to a play-action pass. They like deep crossing routes. Anything after faking the ball to Trent Richardson, because that draws a lot of attention, and then they go for big chunk yardage plays off of play action.
The initial first down of the game for Alabama at the Mississippi State 45. Richardson trying to cut it outside, now cuts back in and almost had the ball taken away, but he is a tough cat to rip that ball away from with that body and those arms of his. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, we saw Darius Hanks limp off the field a long time ago. They've been working on the outside of his left ankle. They've tried taping him up. They've had him up on the examination table, but still to no avail. This really hurts them because they're short on explosive players outside of Marquise Mays and Trent Richardson, guys. So they're down a receiver. He's got over 20 catches.
Yep. There he is on the sideline. We hope he can get back in there. Second down at 5. Eddie Lacy in the backfield for Alabama now. The play fakes to him. The throws to Mays, and he is head on by the other number 4 on the field, but he did get a first down.
And that was a good alert read by A.J. McCarron because Mississippi State came with a corner blitz to that side. McCarron sees it. He gets rid of the ball quickly and gets the ball to Mays for the first down.
Boy, did a nice job of finding a lane to throw that through. There wasn't much space there.
Jonathan Banks, the guy coming on the blitz, is 6'2", so he's a tall guy coming in your throwing lane.
Alabama with a couple of first downs. They've moved it to the 34 of the Bulldogs. Lacy, little delayed draw play, and it was so delayed that he didn't get much out of that at all. Maybe a couple of yards. Monday Night Football should be a good one. Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, who's playing out of his mind. Adrian Peterson and the Vikings division rivalry, 8:30 Eastern. Also available on Watch. ESPN coverage starts 7 o'clock Eastern time Monday. The Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Is he on another level or what? Aaron Rodgers.
He is.
Second down and 8. McCarron in the shotgun. Looking left all the way. Overshot Mays too high on the slant. And it brings up third down and long.
You want to go back to something Holly reported on, the absence of Barrett Jones and why his absence is critical. Not only is he the starting left tackle, he was the starting right guard last year, and he can play all of the positions. So they really can ill afford another injury because their depth is really they've got some depth problems right now, and he was the most versatile of the guys that they had that they could plug into different spots.
There's McCullough, the guy that's taken his spot. Alabama in a little bit of a spot. Third down and 8. Crowd is really letting the Tide have it right now. McCarron, near side throw is broken up by Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks is really an excellent football player. I mean, Chris Wilson, their defensive coordinator, thinks that he's an all-SEC caliber type player. And he showed it right there. Great break on the ball.
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty is refused. Fourth down.
So fourth down.
Well, you wonder how much confidence Nick Saban has right now in going for a field goal.
Yeah.
That was a big part of the problem a week ago.
A missed 44-yarder last week against LSU. 50-yarder, no good. Switch kickers. Jeremy Shelley, 49, blocked. Cade Foster from long range didn't even have a chance in overtime.
Well, you said the 49-yarder was blocked a week ago. This is a 49-yard attempt.
Cade Foster to try to get maybe his confidence back and give his team the lead here in the first quarter. So much for the confidence coming back.
Good snap, good hold. Ball just didn't turn in for him.
Nope. Had enough distance. Plenty, in fact. But a couple yards wide. And the nightmares continue for the kickers for Alabama. And with that, Mississippi State takes over at the 32-yard line. Russell hit as he throws. Ball's a jump ball. And it's pulled down and dropped. Robert Lester had his hands on it. I don't know if one of his own guys hit him.
Well, that ball hung up there so long that there were about 4 Alabama guys that wanted to get their name in lights for an interception. Hightower's the guy that forced the bad play. He got in there so quickly, and the ball was up there. And watch all these white shirts say, I'm getting the INT. And they should have just let Robert Lester go for it. Can't hold the ball. I mean, both these quarterbacks holding it too long against this defense.
This time Russell rips it out near the 40-yard line, complete to Clark, leading receiver on the team. Picks up 7 and makes third down look a little bit easier. Todd said it earlier. You get 7 or 8 yards, you think you're doing pretty good. You just want to get a first down or 2 against Alabama. See if they can pick up the third down and 3.
One thing Mississippi State is doing is they're going no huddle, but they're not playing as fast and going hurry up like they do normally. They just go no huddle to keep the same defensive personnel on the field for Alabama and then adjust their plays once they see how they line up.
Ladarius Perkins flushes out of the backfield. Here comes a blitz. The throw is on target. Malcolm Johnson, first down, a pickup of 9.
Well, they told us yesterday in the meetings they thought Malcolm Johnson and Marcus Green were 2 guys they could get some matchup advantages with because of their size, and they got Johnson on that big third down play. Here it is again. No huddle, but not hurry up. Alabama likes to switch defensive personnel based on who you have in. Without the huddle, it keeps the same guys on the field.
There's Johnson, who sets up on the wing, and now they give it off, and Perkins loses a yard or 2 that they just picked up. That was their initial first down, by the way.
I really thought it was interesting what Dan Mullen said about this Alabama defense when he said that they are so big and strong and physical in their front 7 that they can stop your inside running just physically. They don't have to scheme to stop your run. Then they scheme in the back end in their pass coverages.
And Perkins going to struggle for a couple of yards, maybe 3. You saw that placard on the sideline holding up the play call, and it's amazing that Erin Andrews was going to make not only our game but her own game tonight on the West Coast. Erin's not in that particular board, but she was on the one you saw a couple of minutes ago. Another third down, 3rd and 8. Ballard back in there for the Bulldogs behind Tyler Russell, and now he will leave the backfield, leaving Russell all by his lonesome on 3rd down and long. Pressured, and down he goes.
Can't block them.
Dante Hightower again.
Yeah, I mean, Upshaw and Hightower, when they line up and play like a defensive end, they're so quick off the ball. You know, they're big enough to take on a lineman, and they're too quick for him coming off the edge.
I told you a couple hours ago, 30 years ago, those 2 guys would have been offensive linemen.
That's right.
265 pounds for one and 260 for the other. So Swedenberg will have to punt. 1 first down, and that's it. Bulldogs will kick it away again.
Now, if you're going to do a rugby, you better make sure the ball hits the ground and bounces. Don't let Marquise Mays catch it on the fly like they did the last time.
So you look at Swedenberg from behind, and he dropped the ball. Down he goes. Alabama's got it right there. Almost the same as a turnover, and you said you got to win the turnover battle if you're going to win the game.
You got to win the turnover battle, and Alabama is going to make you earn everything, and they also, as soon as you make a mistake, they capitalize. There's the first big mistake of the game. Now let's see what Alabama does to take advantage of it.
So mark that one down with just over a minute to go in the quarter. And there's what Todd was talking about a little while ago. 15-0 when you win the turnover battle. And though that's going to be considered taking over on downs, it's the same thing as an interception or a fumble or anything else. 1st and 10. Alabama at the 31. Play action. Will they try to take advantage right here? McCarron throws high, but no, he got it over to Kenny Bell.
That's the kind of stuff they like on the early downs. Play action, good protection, and deep crossing routes. They're plays that take time to develop, but the play action holds linebackers and underneath coverage and allows you to throw to the second level.
And that level got him down to the 15-yard line. So in the red zone for Alabama. Bulldogs thinking about a blitz. Richardson hit in the backfield twice, still going. No, and he made a yard out of nothing. That might be the last play of the quarter. Alabama on the march at the Bulldog 14-yard line in what appears to be a scoreless first quarter, unless they do take a snap here in the next 2 seconds. I don't think that's going to happen, and it won't. End of the quarter. Tough football game. Both defenses playing very, very well. One mistake, though, that botched punt attempt by Mississippi State has given Alabama a chance. End to one, no score in Starkville. Set to start the second quarter. The SEC on ESPN. Scoreless first quarter between Alabama and Mississippi State. But Alabama on the move. They've got it at the 14-yard line in the red zone. Brought to you by Verizon. Mississippi State, one of the top teams. Alabama, one of the top teams as well, as far as opponents' touchdown percentage is concerned.
I think you look to throw the football here to Trent Richardson. 5 catches a week ago, 23 on the season. Maybe a screen, something short and quick to him.
2nd and 9. They come out in the flat and dropped by Kenny Bell. Kenny was thinking about where he was going. He forgot to take the football along.
Well, Holly mentioned the absence of Darius Hanks. Kenny Bell getting an opportunity. Good throw by McCarron. You're right. He just started to turn his eyes back towards the end zone and forgot the football.
A lot of people that maybe don't follow Alabama might be thinking, where are the big plays from last year? Well, Julio Jones is with the Atlanta Falcons.
Making them there.
Yeah, making them there. Putting a couple of big ones for touchdowns last week. 3rd down and 9. McCarron to the end zone. Marquise Mays. He's out of bounds. Marquise says, wait a minute. I dragged my foot. The officials don't agree.
Kind of a different looking end line back there because of the maroon and white. This was a beautiful throw. I thought his foot came down in.
His left foot touched first and then the right foot dragged, so he was out of the back before he could drag the right foot. So could have been, and now it's field goal time again, which is always interesting. Shelley's 12 out of 15 on the year. He'll try this one. 31-yard field goal attempts. And he missed it to the left.
Oh, boy.
The woes continue in the Alabama kicking game. First one was wide right. Second one with a different kicker, wide left. Celebrating its 7th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities. General scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate's contributed more than $2.5 million in scholarship monies. Neither team has hit the Allstate nets so far tonight. You got to be somewhere in between the uprights to hit the Allstate nets.
Well, Mississippi State this is their 14th play, only 4 total yards so far.
Chris Ralph back in at quarterback and lobs one out there, incomplete. We check in with Holly.
Well, before any of the Alabama fans at home watching break their TV set or throw something, wanted to let them know that Alabama does have Scout.com #1 rated kicker in the country signed for next season, Adam Griffith. Guys, I've been told that he kicked a 90-yard kickoff, wind aided. This guy has a booming leg, so there is help coming. I know it doesn't help him yet tonight.
That's a great one, Holly. Inside run by Vic Ballard, and he picked up 3 as we pick up Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, time for SportsCenter Right Now, presented by Discover Card. Nebraska and Penn State today. It was a poignant scene for the game at Beaver Stadium. First game without Joe Paterno as head coach since 1965. Cornhuskers won it 17-14. Penn State still ahead of the leaders division in the Big Ten.
So Penn State and Wisconsin now each control their own destiny in the Big Ten. Comes a blitz off the corner. Ralph on the option will keep it, and he's tracked down after he picks up 3.
Now there was a blitz from the opposite side, and the guy who ended up making the tackle was that blitzer. Jaquan Menzie blitz from the opposite side, and watch him chase the play all the way down, right down the line of scrimmage, and he's just tracking on Chris Ralph. And as soon as Ralph cuts in, he has no idea Menzie's behind him. He thinks he's going to get the first down. Nice play by Menzie.
Instead, Swedenberg out to punt.
Catch it first.
Yeah, exactly. 5th total 3 and out in the game. Remember, as Todd just mentioned, Swedenborg dropped the last snap. This one's clean, and the kick spirals towards Marquise Mays, and he took a big shot, and a flag flies.
Another mistake. You know, again, when you're playing a team as good as Alabama,
can't do that.
You can't. You have to play as close to a perfect game as you can. And Marvin Burr just clearly made a bad decision here. And this was a beautiful punt. Mays had nowhere to go but run out of bounds once he caught it. So it was a perfect kick. And now you're going to give Alabama field position again in your territory or close to it.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 41 on the kicking team. That penalty is 15 yards added to the end of the return. First down.
Here it is again, as Todd said. There's nowhere to hide right there. You just can't do that. That gives Alabama great field position to work with when we come back.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Buick. See real stories of human achievement on the Buick Human Highlight Reel at ncaa.com/Buick. And Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Back in 1938, Edam cheese was introduced in Mississippi State by the heads of the Dairy Science Department. They want to manufacture cheese that would draw attention to Mississippi State University like their football team. They finally decided on 3-pound cannonball Edam cheese. Something I'm sure Mr. Blackledge would like to have several pounds of to take back to Ohio.
I'd like a couple to be on that bus.
That's exactly right.
That'd be good.
That would be good. First down for Alabama after the personal foul on the punt return. McCarron throws complete. And it's another first down. This one's Kevin Norwood. And there's the guilty party, Marvin Burr. They had that late hit out of bounds, and you kind of saw Marquise Mays tap him on the helmet as if to say, well, thanks a lot. Yeah, the drive to the national championship DirecTV bus. They will be busing us after the game. TJ's got that baby warmed up already, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they did stock some food in there for us. I don't know.
TJ keeps that bus clean all the time, too.
You could eat off the floor of that bus. We prefer to eat off a plate when we get in there, but the floor will do. First down. DeAndre White in motion and now sets up on a wing as Richardson takes it. Trent Richardson, here's his best run of the night. And he just bulldozes his way for 15 yards.
The reason it was his best run is because he got a full head of steam through the line of scrimmage. And when he gets his shoulders turned upfield, again, very difficult to bring down. Good blocking at the point of attack. And once he gets past the line of scrimmage with a full motor, very, very tough to stop.
Here's Alabama in the red zone again, but they came up empty the last time they got here. Eddie Lacy comes in. He'll give Trent Richardson a breather at tailback.
I think they'll be more aggressive in their play calling this time. After missing 2 field goals already, 6 of their last 8 attempts in the last 2 games, I think they'll go for the end zone.
Spinning move by Lacy. Wow. How about that? Planted his foot and spun around to get 6 yards.
That's kind of his signature thing. I mean, he has a great spin move, and it's an instinctive thing. Sometimes you see guys spin after contact. He spins before the contact happens. I mean, he just feels the contact coming and spins away from it and adds about 7 more yards to the run.
He must be watching old Chuck Foreman film.
Yeah.
Chuck used to do that back with the Minnesota Vikings in the day. He's got it inside the 10 with that last run. Second down at 4 for the Tide. Here comes a blitz. And flags are down. Plays blown dead. Here's a call.
Before the snap, false start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
That's going to be 2nd and 9. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, you see number 65, Chance Warmack, running back on the field for Alabama. His shoe broke. So Boswell, 67, had to come in, play that last play. Chance hurried, got it fixed, and now he's back out on the field.
The old broken shoe. 2nd down and 9. Underwood, the tight end, in motion. And the run is going to go that way, and it's not going to go anywhere. Lacey, no gain. Bonner and Lawrence combine on the tackle.
Mississippi State on that play guest run. They went to straight man coverage on Marquise Mays with their best corner, Jonathan Banks, and had extra men around the line of scrimmage. You put more guys in there than they can block, and then you just got to make the tackle.
If the Bulldogs stop them here, we're going to find out the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Would they try another field goal or try for a touchdown? They're 0 for 4 in their 3rd down conversions so far.
And we might even find it out on this down, because they may just go for part of this yardage with the idea of going for it in 2 downs.
Blitz on 3rd and 9. The fade to the corner. We're going to have pass interference, though, on Jonathan Banks, who just shoved the Andrew White out of bounds.
And I don't think he needed to, because I think that ball was going to be out of bounds anyway.
And there's the shove, and it's just blatant. And so that's going to be an automatic 1st down for Alabama.
Well, another mistake.
Yep.
For Mississippi State. Again, you can't make those kind of mistakes.
Pass interference. Defense, number 13. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. The penalty carries an automatic 1st down.
You know, and he was even with DeAndrew White. It wasn't like he was beat.
Right.
I mean, he would have had a play on the football. He had inside position, and he was right on his hip, but he just shoved him out of bounds.
Playing right into Alabama's offensive hands here at the 10-minute mark of the 2nd quarter, because now you figure you're going to get a serious dose of the Alabama tailback however many times it takes. And it's going to be Lacey in there and not Trent Richardson. First and goal at the 2. Lacey on the pitch to the corner. Touchdown, Alabama. Eddie Lacey went airborne for 2 yards and the first score of the ball game.
Boy, great blocks by the 2 tight ends. Michael Williams, number 89. Chris Underwood, number 87. Just cleared the way on that perimeter and the edge for Lacey to get into the end zone. Alabama uses a lot of 2 and 3 tight end formations, and those guys did a great job that time.
The 2 mistakes. One by Beer, one by Banks, and it ends up costing a touchdown. 52-yard drive, flag down in 5 plays for the score.
The ruling on the field was a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
All right, so they're going to take a look at that.
I
thought
don't
he
think
was
there's
clearly
any question. Yeah. Again, 2 great blocks by the tight ends. The dive over the corner.
There's another angle. Lacey, ball's clearly over the goal line as he flies out of bounds. And the linesman's right there on top of it. I'm not even sure why they're taking a look at this, but Rocky Good is our replay official, and he is taking a look at it.
You know, you hear coaches say we got to play a perfect game, and everybody knows it's impossible to play a perfect game.
Yeah.
But for Mississippi State, playing against a team the caliber of Alabama, you got to play as close to that as you can.
Exactly.
And right now they're not doing it. They're playing hard, but they're not playing very smart right now. And they've made some critical errors, and that's why they're behind in the football game.
So an official review underway. If you're just joining us, it appears that Eddie Lacey has scored his 6th rushing touchdown of the year for Alabama. And if so, then we're going to have the extra points. And here's the call.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown.
Alabama's first touchdown in their last 18 possessions, going back to the 4th quarter against Tennessee.
Wow.
Of course, nothing but field goals last week in Tuscaloosa with #1 LSU. And now Jeremy Shelley in for the point after. Even an extra point might help the Alabama kickers get rid of the yips. And he's got the extra point through. Just under 10 minutes remaining first half. Alabama on the board. Crimson Tide leading 7-0. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Craig James will have the BCS countdown coming up Sunday night as they unveil the latest BCS polls and analyze the contenders. BCS countdown presented by Discover on ESPN tomorrow. 8:15 Eastern continues at 9 o'clock on ESPNU. There's your Discover top 5 teams in the BCS standings. And you can cross off Boise State, TCU, pick them off today. Stanford's playing right now. They're trailing Oregon, but if they beat Oregon, they will hopscotch over the Crimson Tide, from what we understand, because of the computer rating will go up. So Alabama leading 7-0. Cade Foster to kick. This will be returnable from the 3-yard line by Perkins. Perkins fights his way out to the 24. And 9:52 remaining here in the half as we check in with the aforementioned Reese Davis. Reese.
And Brad, you just mentioned that Oregon's on top of Stanford. Here's how it happened. It was after Andrew Luck threw a horrific interception to DeWitt Stuckey. Darren Thomas to Lavachier Tuanay for the score. You know, Oregon always does the numbers count. They look for the opportunity to go for 2 when they can. So David Paulson, the tight end, who was a quarterback in high school, throws it back for the 2. It's 8-0. Oregon's on top.
First down.
All right, Reese, keep us posted. And we had a penalty, actually. I didn't see the flag earlier. And it was on the kickoff team, but offside against the Tide. And at the 30-yard line, that's where Mississippi State will start. Bulldogs are having a little trouble.
Yeah.
Their longest play, 8 yards. They are averaging 22 inches per play, roughly 0.6 yards per play. And another one batted down, this by Daquan Menzie.
Well, we showed you the numbers for Alabama. They lead the nation in all 4 major defensive categories. In total defense, they only allow 3.3 yards per play through 9 games. They are just a suffocating defense, and they are big and physical in their front 7.
Second down at 10 in the pistol set. It's going to be the run by Russell. And he is planted by Mark Barron, who does that to a lot of people.
I'll tell you what, that's a great open field tackle by one of the best players in the country, Mark Barron. I mean, this is a nice run by Russell. Again, he's not known for the running. And if he breaks a little tackle out there, it's a first down and some momentum for Mississippi State. But Barron sizes him up, wraps him up, and puts him on the ground short of the first down.
Barron, the All-American, will really hit you from that Alabama secondary. 3rd down and 5. And James Carman, I think, is going to be the guilty party. Now it's going to be 3rd and 10.
Second time tonight for Carman.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 3rd down.
Tough night so far for the big fella from Baltimore, Maryland. 320-pound left tackle.
Well, out of his peripheral vision to his left, he sees Courtney Upshaw, who's going to rush one-on-one on him. And Carman says, hey, man, I was a defensive lineman last year. This is my first year playing left tackle, and you want me to block that guy?
Lighten up on me, Courtney. So 3rd and 10. Russell across the middle, incomplete. Intended for Chad Bumpus. Russell really stands flat-footed back there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He stands tall, and Nick Gentry got good pressure on the inside and was able to put a good hit on him as well. I mean, he stands tall. You like to see that, but he also leaves himself pretty exposed, and Gentry lifts him and puts him on the ground.
4th 3 and out now for Mississippi State, and that means Swedenberg again, a busy punter. Marquise Mays back deep. Last time it was a good punt by Swedenberg, but then a silly mistake on the late hit on Marquise Mays. This time they come after him a little bit, and Mays has to take the fair catch at the 38-yard line. Alabama with the lead, 7-0, 8:35 remaining in the half. The SEC on ESPN from Starkville continues in a moment. Todd, they're taking a look at the last snap and whether or not Swedenberg's knee was down or if the ball touched the ground before he punted it.
Well, his knee was definitely on the ground. I guess the question was, did he have control while it was still on the ground? Did he lift the knee up? The bottom line is it was a low snap. It broke the timing. The punt was almost blocked, and it was almost another critical error by the Mississippi State punt team.
There's Reed Gordon, the long snapper, and he's warming up. After looking at it, they're just going to leave the game the way it is right here, and that means Alabama's got it at the 38-yard line. 8.5 minutes to go in a half. McCarron under pressure, got the pass complete, and it's the tight end, Michael Williams. He's got a first down in Mississippi State territory.
This is a nice job by McCarron because, again, they went play action on first down, looked deep, and there was pressure, and he found his tight end crossing in front of him quickly to avoid the pressure. That was a good, quick read.
Let's check in with Holly.
Hey, I just checked with an alternate official down here on the sideline, and they said that if the punter's knee is down and he doesn't have possession of the ball, he can get back up and punt it. So no problem there, guys.
Okay, Holly, thanks. It was close, that's for sure. First down, Alabama. McCarron, here comes the heat. He throws that way. Trent Richardson was the intended receiver, and it's incomplete as we check in with Reese.
All right, Brad, the team that is still fighting with LSU and Alabama in the SEC West is Arkansas. They're playing Tennessee. It's 7-0 Arkansas at this point. I want you to watch Joe Adams. This is going to be officially a 60-yard punt return, but now Joe's about 70 yards away from the end zone, maybe 71. Stays on his feet. There are a lot of guys in white and orange chasing him. None will catch him. Arkansas is blowing out the Vols 35-7.
Joe is lightning in a bottle, that's for sure. Here's a toss sweep to Trent Richardson, and a nice stop by Fletcher Cox again.
You know, that Arkansas is a good football team. The only loss to Alabama, and turnovers, you know, really were the difference in that ball game. And when Arkansas plays defense the way they did the last time we saw them, they can play with anybody.
And remember, I said at the top of the show here tonight, they still have a lot to say about who's going to win the SEC because they got LSU the last weekend of the season, and they play LSU tough, and they got a lot of offense to give even a great defense a few problems. McCarron has hit 6 different receivers tonight. He'll be aiming this one to somebody on 3rd down and 10. Deep middle, overshot Marquise Mays. Nice job by the Bulldog defense.
Yep. Chris Wilson, the defensive coordinator, called for man coverage with a free safety, tried to bring a little extra pressure on McCarron. It was a good job of picking up the pressure by Alabama, but McCarron overshot the throw.
There's Chris, defensive coordinator, forcing a Cody Mandel punt.
Last year he was the co-defensive coordinator with Manny Diaz, who is now at the University of Texas.
Mandel has had 9 punts knocked inside the 20-yard line. I would assume that's what he would try to do here. Keep it out of Jonathan Banks' hands. And he did just that. And about the 14-yard line. 7 minutes remaining in the first half. And time for our Aflac trivia question of the night. Aha. How many times has the BCS National Championship game been a rematch of teams that played earlier that season? We're referring, of course, to number 1 against number 2 last week. How many times has it ended up being a rematch in the BCS for the title? Think it over. Maybe a trick question. You never know. Tyler Russell back in at quarterback. Throws complete this time, and looks like it's going to be a first down to Chad Bumpus.
I want to go back to something. At the end of that last punt, Nick Saban was so mad at his punter, and he really gave him an earful, Cody Mandel, for not getting that ball in deeper than the 14-yard line. Now, he didn't yell at his kickers on the missed field goal.
And here's the 3rd quarterback, and it's Dylan Favre who throws a strike. And if the name rings a bell, that's right, Brett's nephew. And he threw a laser right there. And
Look at this formation.
Look at this formation. This guy's all over the place. Is about 5 up to the top of your screen. Now some motion and maybe an offside on Upshaw. And Favre's going to sling another one and almost had it picked off.
How does that happen? How do you jump off sides when there's only one offensive lineman? And he's the center. I mean, the ball has to move. Courtney Upshaw is the only defensive lineman, and there's only one offensive lineman, and he jumps off sides.
It's like when you're playing football out in the backyard and you only got so many guys, you know.
Offside. Defense. Number 41. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. The result of the penalty is a first down.
So they moved the chains on a weird-looking play out to the 35-yard line. Tyler Russell now comes back in at quarterback. So we've had 3 Bulldog quarterbacks here in the first half. Perkins in the backfield with Russell. There hasn't been much of a ground game tonight for Mississippi State. They're going to go airborne here again. This one's complete out in the flat. Chris Smith brought down immediately by Menzie, but he got 5 yards, and the bells are ringing.
Good completion, but Tyler Russell wants to throw that to the opposite armpit away from the defense. I mean, he got the completion, but that ball was thrown a little bit inside towards the defense. Your aiming point is the outside arm away from the defense.
Under 6 minutes in the half. Mississippi State trying to get something going offensively here. Here's Perkins. Following his blockers are trying to, but it's tough sledding against Alabama. Mark Barron and C.J. Mosley combine on the hit. Dan Mullen, his 3rd year as the head coach here.
But a manageable 3rd down situation. You got run or pass option here on 3rd and short.
It'll be a pass unless the quarterback has to run. Let's go at the last minute. He got it complete to Chris Smith. First down.
Well, Dre Kirkpatrick went for an interception. And he's probably the best cover corner on this Alabama team. And he's going to go for an interception. Watch number 21 anticipate the throw and try to cut in front for an interception, but misses. And that enables Chris Smith to make the catch and tack on some extra yardage.
This will be only the 2nd play in Alabama territory for Mississippi State. Just inside the 41, a first down. Play action. Russell all day to throw. Comes over the middle, complete again. Tackled by Mosley on Vic Ballard, who came out of the backfield to make the catch.
Well, they got some momentum. I mean, they got a little rhythm going in their offense right now. Tyler Russell in there. Dylan Favre gave him a little spark for a couple plays.
Seventh play of the Mississippi State drive. And it's going to be Hemphill. And he's got a first down. Excuse me, it's Ballard. Hemphill was in there, but Ballard got the call. And they keep moving the chains, and they keep going without a huddle. Picking up the tempo, as Todd said, they got something rolling here. Alabama still got their substitutions in on defense.
Well, I think they figured out that it's not a hurry up. It's just a no huddle.
And a first down at the 29 of Alabama. Russell again. Near side this time. Another nice catch by Chris Smith.
Now, right now, what Russell has to be thinking is no negative plays. We're in scoring territory. We're in field goal range. And Chris Relf is going to come into the game. We haven't seen a design quarterback run with Chris Relf yet. But no negative plays.
2nd and 6 at the 25. There's the quarterback run, but it didn't run very far. Might have gotten a half yard out of it.
Fans a little upset with the quarterback switch there. They thought Tyler Russell was moving the team, which he was. They had some momentum.
Russell had hit his last 5 passes, too. Chad Bumpus in the backfield, and now he'll move out of it into the slots on 3rd down and 5. Ralph finally lets go of it. Hit the umpire's foot, I think was about it. Damian Square was squarely in his face when he tried to throw the football.
And I think Ralph is hurt at the end of that throw.
Well, field goal range, we'll find out in a second. From Derek DePasquale. His long of the season is 42 yards. This one's going to be just inside that. DePasquale from 41 to try to put the Bulldogs on the board. A kick on the way. No. Wide left. Kind of a line drive. And both teams' kickers having all kinds of troubles tonight. Just under 3 minutes to play. First half, Alabama by 7.
Darren fires complete for the first down, and that works the pulse.
Our Aflac trivia question. A few minutes ago, how many times has the BCS National Championship game been a rematch of the teams that played earlier that season? Well, never. I guessed Florida State and Florida.
Yeah, we were both thinking the same game.
But that wasn't BCS time yet.
Yeah.
So that's what Nick Saban would love to have happen. Another crack at LSU. And as Les Miles said after the game last week, I'd be honored to play them again, which was a great line, I thought, from the hat. Right now, Alabama's just trying to survive Starkville. They lead by 7. McCarron's going to flare it out there to White. White with a blocker, spins his way for decent yardage out near the 30-yard line. And let's check in with Reese.
All right, Brad, coming up on the Wendy's halftime report, the post-Paterno era starts at Penn State. We'll show you how they fared against Nebraska and have reaction from Mark and Lou. Another unbeaten falls. We're down to 4 as Boise goes down in a thriller. And the Pac-12 showdown between Stanford and Oregon. Extra points deciding it right now.
We got an interception here by Lawrence. Cameron Lawrence is picked off A.J. McCarron. And Mississippi State, a 31-yard interception return, is knocking on the Alabama door.
Well, Cameron Lawrence did a great job of reading the eyes of the quarterback. He's the team's leading tackler coming into the game. Watch him right here, number 10. The pass is intended for the tight end, Chris Underwood. Watch him read the eyes and cut right underneath it and then get it towards the end zone.
And McCarron saved the touchdown, but number 10 threw one to number 10. And now Mississippi State's got a golden opportunity because of an Alabama mistake.
And they must capitalize here. They must capitalize with a touchdown because they may not get this close to the Alabama end zone again.
First and goal. Play action. Throw to the corner. Broken up. Chad Bumpus had his hands on it, but couldn't hold it.
Well, was that Menzie again? He has had a great first half.
Yeah, he has.
He has been very, very active. You know, Nick Saban also, his position expertise is secondary. And so he teaches technique with the defensive backs from an NFL perspective, and they fight to the end of the play.
Alabama changing up their personnel on defense on a 2nd down and goal. Ballard's going to get hit in the backfield. He's going to lose about 3. Courtney Upshaw led the charge, and Hightower was there as well.
They're not going to give it to you easy, that's for sure. They are going to make you earn everything you get.
Now you almost have to throw. You had it at the 4, but now it's back at the 7. Alabama might take a timeout here, I think.
Alabama.
And they will.
Their first time out.
Minute 43 remaining in the half. A.J. McCarron doesn't make too many mistakes, but he made one a couple of minutes ago. And Todd, I think you know, you said it as well as anybody could. Yeah. You're not going to get many shots inside the Alabama 5-yard line. You better punch it in here, or you may not have a chance in the game.
And I'm sure Dan Mullen was cheering for Cameron Lawrence to get all the way into the end zone.
Yeah.
Because, again, when you go against this defense, I mean, you got to be almost perfect. And the first 2 plays inside that red area, they've not been very good. So now it's a third down. They've got to throw, and Tyler Russell has to be smart with the football because you got to come away with points. So you don't want to throw a pick here or do something silly, but a touchdown is certainly what you were shooting for.
It's been a long time since Alabama's even allowed a touchdown. Back in mid-October. The 3rd and goal at the 7. And there's Tyler Russell, number 17, who's going to be all by himself in that Mississippi State backfield.
You got to try to find a matchup that favors you.
Oh, and it's getting worse.
Same guy. 3 times tonight.
False start on Carmen.
False start. Offense. Number 77. 5 yards from the previous spot. 3rd down.
Well, gave themselves more room to work, I guess.
You can look at it that way.
3rd down and goal. They had it at the 4, and now it's back at the 12. 4 wideouts as Perkins, the tailback, comes down to the bottom of your screen as an extra one. Tyler Russell on 3rd and goal. Throws incomplete. Arcito Clark, I think, was the intended receiver. And now they're going to try to come away with whatever they can. Well, a blown opportunity to get 7 and tie it up.
A blown opportunity, but how about this Alabama defense? I mean, let's not take anything away from them. Their quarterback throws an interception. It goes inside their 5-yard line. They come on the field for 3 plays, and they make Mississippi State go backwards.
So they come in to try a field goal via 29-yard attempts. Dee Pasquale is the kicker, but Dylan Favre is the holder. Gets it down, and another missed field goal. Wow. It just can't get any worse for kickers than the night we're seeing here. No expression on the face of Dan Mullen, but he knows full well what Todd was talking about. How many times do you get to the Alabama 4 to start with? Your defense gives you a golden opportunity. 1 miss to the left, 1 miss to the right. And Dee Pasquale can't get this one through. Just a knuckleball that never had a chance. So it's still 7-0 and a minute 33 for Alabama. And they'll work at the 20-yard line. Trent Richardson's been held pretty much in check tonight. In this first half, he'll get the carry here. And Trent again, look at the power in those legs. He goes for 9 yards when he had about 3 guys on it. So it's going to be 2nd down at short.
You know, I think that was they both missed it, but I think that was a different kicker.
It was.
They have 2 kickers that are both number 40.
Yeah, I beg your pardon.
One's left-footed, one's right-footed, I believe.
And one went wide to the right and one went wide to the left. So
I'd find somebody else with a different number, maybe.
Might want to put a different number on your kickers, and you wouldn't have a play-by-play guy make a mess out of things like I just did. There they are.
The only reason I knew is because one has like electric green shoes on, and he kicked the first one and missed, and the other one had just white shoes, and he kicked the second one and missed.
Oh, boy. Here's Trent Richardson, and he's all wrapped up again by Fletcher Cox, who's had a all-SEC type of first half on that defensive line for Mississippi State. And Alabama's not going to do anything crazy here, it appears. No. They're just going to be happy to have a touchdown lead at halftime.
That's how they play. I mean, they wait till you make a mistake, and then they take advantage of it. And now they made a mistake with their interception, but right now, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart feel like, you know what, this offense is not going to move the ball on us. We can snuff them out. As long as we don't give them a super short field again, we'll be okay.
Probably the final play of the half. Trent Richardson, a tough yard before he takes a few more shots. Well, the cowbells are ringing because Mississippi State is close to one of the best teams in the country again, much like they were against LSU earlier this season. Still trailing, and they missed a golden opportunity to at least get 3 points, if not have this game tied They had it first and goal at the 4 and couldn't come away with anything. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, Coach Saban, your defense is really playing great, but your offense is struggling to find some momentum. What has to change there?
Well, we can't run the ball. So, you know, we're going to have to find a way to run the ball and get a hat on the hat, be a little more consistent. We got too many negative plays. We had some opportunities to hit some things and we didn't, but we're going to have to throw and catch the ball better.
With your field goal kickers both missing, how does that affect your decision in the second half, whether you go for it?
I got plenty of confidence in our field goal kickers. They'll do fine. That's why we're going to keep putting them out there and they're going to make them.
Okay, Coach.
Thanks.
Thinking positively. Nick Saban, halftime, his team in front on the road 7-0 as we send it to Reese, Mark, and Lou in our studio for the Wendy's halftime report. Guys.
They're always so strong and big. They're bigger than anybody you play. I mean, just a fast game, a tense game. They play it tense, man.
Who's going to get hit before he can get rid of it?
They don't make mistakes. You have to go earn every yard you get.
And number 1 Alabama defense strong tonight on our college football prime time, presented by Hampton Hotels, that's for sure, in the first 2 quarters. As you take a look at the statistics, 7 rushing yards for Mississippi State, a couple of missed field goals on each side. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe back here in Starkville. And partner, I tell you, when you're averaging a little over 2 yards a play, you don't want to get down to the 4-yard line and blow an opportunity. Mississippi State did that.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you know, the good news was, or the only good news is, it was right before the half, so they could go in the locker room and make some adjustments. They didn't have to keep playing with that lack of momentum after the missed opportunity. But you just don't get that many golden opportunities against a team as good as Alabama. Let's see what they can do their first offensive possession. They've got to run it better than they did that first half.
Foster's kick, short one, taken at the 15 by Perkins. And Perkins trying to weave his way out, and Foster in on the stop, the kicker, along with a couple other Alabama players. A lot of miscues. First there was a fumble on a punt. And then the late hit on Marquise Mays out of bounds gave Alabama better field position. They scored on the drive that followed that, including the interference. But misses to the left and to the right by 2 different kickers, both number 40, I might add.
Yeah.
And that's what's left Mississippi State with a 0 on the scoreboard right now as we start the 3rd quarter. And Tyler Russell at quarterback. Coming up to throw, maybe not. He's hit as he lets go, but incomplete. And we check in with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, I was able to catch up with Mississippi State coach Dan Mullen at the half, and I asked him about those 2 kickers wearing number 40. He said, well, first of all, it's hard to get numbers, you know. They're never on the field at the same time, so we share numbers that way, but it is partly to be a little bit sneaky. I asked if he'll continue to kick field goals in the second half, given their misses. He said, we've got to. Even with all those mistakes, we're right where we want to be, down just 7 to Alabama.
Well, they must be out of numbers for the snappers, too. They've got 3 84s that are long snappers. That ball's incomplete. Clark had his hands on it, got separated from the football. And it brings up 3rd and 10 to open up the 3rd quarter.
You know, and that little thing that we showed right before we came back on with Bobby Petrino, the head coach of Arkansas, saying you got to earn every yard. This is a catch that has to be made. In a big-time game on prime time like this, a pretty well-thrown ball, and Arcito Clark, if he catches it, it's a first down. Instead, it's 3rd and 10 against the number 1 defense in the country.
D. Miller is the guy that separated him from the ball. And now it is 3rd and 10. Ballard will flush out of that backfield. Russell down the middle. This one is held on to by Green. The tight end, Marcus Green, his first catch of the night, and it's good for a first down.
And if that's a wide receiver, Brett, catches the football, the hit doesn't knock him down. Watch Green catch it, bounce off the hit by Mark Barron, and then get the first down on second effort.
There aren't many guys that bounce off a hit from Mark Barron, and he picked up the first down at the 44. Now it's Perkins. And Perkins got maybe 3 out of that. Quentin Dial made first contact for Alabama's defense. Again, Mississippi State with an interception that was returned by Cameron Lawrence down to the 4-yard line, and they got no points out of that late in the 2nd quarter. Alabama with the touchdown lead, 2nd and 8. Ballard's back in there behind Russell in the pistol set. And it's going to be Russell carrying, and he got 3.
out near the 49-yard line. Damian Square made the stop.
What I've seen so far, and I know that Chris Ralph graded out higher than Tyler Russell last week in their win over Tennessee Martin. I think the team is moving a little bit more effectively with Tyler Russell and his ability to throw the football. Only 7 yards rushing in that first half. I'd be surprised to see Ralph play as much in the second half as he did in the first half if things keep going this way.
5 receivers, extra man on the rush, and the pass is incomplete. Menzie. Bumpus is looking for a flag, and he's not going to see one.
Russell did a pretty good job hanging in there under pressure. The ball's a little bit low. I think Menzie did get away with one here. The right arm is around the back, and normally that's a call. I mean, Menzie's had a good first half, but I think he got away with one on that play.
Let's see if the snap to Swedenberg is clean. He's dropped one, and he had one where his knee was very close to being down when he did field it. This one's perfect. And the kick. Mays backpedaled and then let it go, and it gets to the end zone where Alabama will bring it out to the 20-yard line on offense. Only a couple of races remaining to the Crown Championship. Only 3 points separating Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart right now in the fight for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues with the Cobalt Jewels 500 at Phoenix tomorrow. Coverage starts 2 o'clock Eastern time. Tony's making a run at it, that's for sure. He's been pretty hot the last 3 weeks. And there's how the top 5 look. 2 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN. Alabama, 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line. McCarron motioning Kevin Norwood to come in tighter and fakes it to Trent Richardson and goes complete on the fly to Norwood. Norwood across midfield. One of the bigger pass plays of the night for Alabama. Got 38.
See, that's what they like. They like the deep crossing routes because the play action fake will pull the linebackers in and then you throw behind them. So that passing lane is over the linebackers but in front of the safeties, and that play action fake allows you to find that window to throw.
Kevin Norwood playing because, remember, Darius Hanks was injured in the first quarter, and Norwood for them, that's a career-long catch. 38 yards down to the 42. McCarron this time throws it to White. And a quick slant. Corey Broomfield made the tackle.
It's interesting because Nick Saban told Holly, we've got to find a way to run the football. You know, we're not running it, so they're coming out throwing, I think, with the idea of opening up the run because they want to lean on Trent Richardson in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter, to wear down this Mississippi State defense.
Second down and 2. Trent Richardson in the Alabama backfield. Gets the carry and gets the first down and gets some more. Trent Richardson, you know, you compare him to Mark Ingram, who won the Heisman Trophy for Alabama, and their numbers are strikingly similar, and actually the touchdowns way in favor of Trent at this point of this season compared to Mark Ingram's Heisman Trophy campaign.
Yeah, that was coming into tonight. You're right, almost identical, but that touchdowns. Trent Richardson knows how to find the end zone.
Mark now a New Orleans Saint, of course. And this guy is a load and has been, but tonight Mississippi State's made him pay for just about every carry. You keep waiting for him to break a big one. So far he hasn't. McCarron is going to throw to him, and Richardson puts the brakes on, spins, and has a first down. Got 12 yards, but we got a flag down.
Ineligible receiver. Downfield on the offense. Number 17 is covered up. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Smelly, the tight end, And because he was covered up in the formation.
And that's not Smelly's fault. That's the receiver, DeAndrew White's fault, number 2. He's got to get off the line of scrimmage because obviously Smelly was a receiver in the route.
Right. So instead of a first down, well, it is first down, but it's backed up to the 32-yard line. McCarron, pressure coming. It's a screen pass to Richardson, and Richardson on the run here. Whoa, what a move by Richardson. Whew. He's so strong, and yet he's got moves like that. 19 yards on the reception.
Now, he's such a dangerous guy in the open field because, as you mentioned, he's got the strength and power to break arm tackles, and you would not expect him to have the quickness and the shiftiness to do that.
Oh, poor Wade Bonner. Don't worry, Wade. That's happened to a lot of people. First down now, just outside the 12-yard line. Alabama threatening to add to its lead. And they want touchdowns because of their field goal woes. They don't want to have to kick it either if they don't have to. Here's Richardson again. Cuts to the outside again. A nice move. And he gets down inside the 6.
I think Trent Richardson saves his best moves for when he's in the state of Mississippi.
Maybe that's it.
Earlier in the year, watch the move in the beginning of this run and then at the end of the run when he played up the road in Oxford.
Here it comes. Watch this one. Whoop. Oh, yeah. Wow.
That one was on turf. This one was on natural grass. It didn't matter.
Second down and 2. Alabama at the Mississippi State 5, and it's Trent Richardson again, and no moves this time as he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Wonder how many runs he's had in his career when he's still standing and they just blew the whistle. He's had about 3 tonight where they really haven't gotten him down.
I think he takes particular pride in that, of not getting taken to the ground. He is a physical runner. I like what Chris Wilson described him. He said he is a very violent football player, and he is.
Alabama hasn't converted a third down tonight. They've got third down and 3 here. The pitch to Richardson. They're not going to get a third down conversion on this one either. And now, though, it's basically the length of an extra point.
Well, Nick Saban told Holly he's got all kind of confidence in his field goal kickers. He's going to try it again.
Kicker troubles, you say? Yeah. 6 of the last 8 they missed.
I made the point how he yelled at his punter for a punt that didn't down inside the 10, and he didn't yell at the kickers because he knows he's got to keep these guys confident. And the psyche of kickers can be very, very fragile.
Shelley from 24. That one's perfect.
He knew it. Nick knew it.
Nothing to this silly game.
Yeah.
7:32, third quarter. Alabama has added to its lead. 10-0 tie. Mike Krzyzewski, one more win will put him at 9-0-4. 9-0-3, I beg your pardon. Duke and Michigan State coming up Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Part of our college basketball marathon on ESPN's networks. How ironic that the guy that coached you is the guy you're going to pass. And Bob Knight would have it no other way. If the record's going to snap, he would like Mike Krzyzewski, obviously, to be the new record holder. Tuesday night, ESPN. Our marathon of basketball starts after Monday Night Football on Monday. And it goes 24 hours. And again, a very short kick at the 21 is Lewis. The good thing is, nice hang time. They only got it out to about the 32-yard line. Trent Richardson, kind of a slow night for him as far as numbers, but we've seen some unbelievable moves from him and some great power as always. With 7:25 remaining in the third quarter. Alabama with a 10-0 lead. Mississippi State's got to get something going when we come back.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. It's all in the mail. and Dodge Journey, the search engine for the real world.
As part of our celebration of Veterans Day weekend, join ESPN for America's Heroes. A salute to our veterans. You can support our troops and wounded warriors home or away and their families by donating to giveuso.org or donate $10 by texting USO to 50555. Mississippi State on offense from the 33-yard line. Still a scoreless offense for the Bulldogs tonight. Almost a face mask there.
Yep,
and
got it.
It is a face mask. Perkins picked up 3. Robert Lester is the guy that had his hand up in the cage of the running back.
I think if you're Mississippi State, you will take any free yardage Alabama's willing to give you.
That's for sure.
I mean, they've had a play for 16 yards. That's the longest.
Foul. Face mask. Defense. That penalty is 15 yards added to the end of the run. Carries an automatic first down.
When you consider how many yards they picked up tonight, as Todd said, and we'll show you graphically, that's been a touchdown allowed by this defense in the last 41 possessions. But the first down by penalty gives them the ball at the 49-yard line. Look out, Tyler Russell. C.J. Mosley with the sack, and that's the 3rd of the night for Alabama.
Well, they ended up bringing 2 guys into the same gap, and the running back, Ladarius Perkins, could only pick up 1. They brought Hightower and Mosley into the same gap, and you see Perkins was able to get Hightower, but nobody accounted for Mosley, and they got the sack.
So now, instead of being in Alabama territory, it's backed up to 2nd and 18. And Russell throws incomplete, and Hightower makes the play defensively. We check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, Stanford and Oregon on ABC. It was late in the half. Stanford down 22-9. Andrew Luck led a great drive. Hit Griff Whalen. Second time those two have hooked up for a score. 22-16 at the break.
Of course, Stanford, if they can beat Oregon, might just jump over the top of Alabama, or are projected to in the BCS standings this week. If they win, Alabama leading 10-0 here. Throw as he's hit. Tyler Russell just goes aimlessly out in the middle, and Hightower all over the quarterback again.
See, one of the problems for Mississippi State in this game is that Alabama does not fear anybody on this offense. They don't have a wide receiver that's a real deep threat, a super fast guy, so they're really squeezing everything. They're rushing the passer, and they're clamping down on all the routes.
Swedenberg to punt again with the rugby-style kick. Marquise Mays has to let it go, and it's going to go all the way to the end zone again.
See, that's 2 times in a row. The last
57-yard kick. I beg your pardon.
No, just the last 2 punts, they try to pin them down, and they kick it in the end zone both times.
The SEC on ESPN from Starkville, Mississippi. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Hallie Rowe, and our ESPN crew. As we take a look at our conference update brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. We'll even let the ladies be part of this, even though it's Dr. Pepper 10 and it's not for women. The East, Georgia, a rout of Auburn today. So the Dogs are a win away from going to the SEC championship game. Alabama and LSU and Arkansas fighting it out on the other side.
Look at the linemen all trying to pick up the audible, too. A.J. McCarron came up to the center, and Mississippi State had a little huddle right there also.
McCarron off play action, flushed out of the pocket. Running for his life, and he's just going to get rid of this one.
You know, it must have worked, because I think the guy who came up there by the center was Sean Ferguson, number 99. Watch this. Watch number 99. And, oh, no, it was also
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox. Okay, what do you call it? Okay, good. Let me dial in on that.
He's had a good ball game, number 94. McCarron again. Here comes, as Cox was in our meeting yesterday, and he was smiling the whole time when we said, Do you always smile? And he turned around as he was leaving the room and said, not when I get on the field, man.
Not game night.
No. Here's Lacey. He's got the only touchdown of the night. He's got a big gainer here. Out to the 41-yard line. That's the best run of the night, 21 yards.
Just his own play. Good patience by Lacey. Allowing those blocks to develop. The center, William Blahos, got an excellent block. And Lacey just kind of waited right behind it and allowed that center to clear out of space and then right up the field.
Not too many teams have the luxury of taking out a guy that's a Heisman candidate, putting guys like Eddie Lacy in there. He stays in on 1st and 10 at the 41. But it's McCarron with a quick throw to the outside of Marquise Mays. Trying to break away, but he's going to get decked over there. Jonathan Banks was the guy that was on him, and then Caleb Ewell's got over there from the defensive end spot to make the stop. Marquise went high to make the tackle, and then he really got hammered right there at the end of the play. You got to give Mississippi State's defense some credit tonight, too. I mean, they're down 10-0, but they should have points on the board. At least a couple of field goals. And they've held Alabama in check. Second down at 7. Here's a stretch play to Lacey. And
there's that spin move again.
Yeah.
You know, he spins when he feels the tackler coming to him. Kind of a hard thing for a defensive guy to anticipate.
Nothing but air when you're trying to tackle him. That was Matthew Wells he got that time. Now here's a big 3rd down for the Bulldog defense, that's for sure. As we've only got 4 minutes left in the quarter. He might get there on the push at the end. I don't know. It'll be where they spot it. Looks like they might be just length of the football short. There's about 10 guys pushing in opposite directions there.
Yeah, this is going to be real close. Looks like it's going to be a left foot spot, which is favors Alabama.
See if Hubert Owens is going to bring out the sticks. Yep. With Alabama only leading 10-0, Todd, let me ask you this. A lot of people thought to stay up in that lofty level in the BCS standings that they needed some style points. Are they getting any tonight?
No, not offensively. That's where they need, style points are won with your offense. I personally don't like the idea of style points. I think if you play great defense like they do.
That is 3 lengths shy. So it's going to be 4th down and 3 lengths.
Yeah, I think they'll go for it here. Again, Nick, I think, feels very good about the way his defense is playing, the way they've kind of bottled up this Mississippi State offense. And, I mean, it's not even the length of a football. So I would expect a quarterback sneak. I don't even know why you would need to take the ball off the line of scrimmage on this play.
Richardson's in. Everybody bunched in tight. It will be McCarron. I don't know. I don't think so.
Boy, it sure didn't look like it.
If it's another left foot spot, it's going to be still 3 lengths shy.
The only problem with that is A.J. McCarron is 6'4", but he only weighs about 200 pounds, and he went high and just didn't get any push. He's not a big physical guy, and he got stood straight up.
I think they lost a couple lengths. But we'll see right now. Very big measurement here. Nope. Wow. Mississippi State's defense comes up with a big play.
Well, again, you've got to capitalize if you're Mississippi State. Your defense has done it for you again. The first time they got an interception and returned it to inside the 5, and you didn't get anything to show for it. Now they get you a 4th down and less than 1 stop at midfield, and you got to make it count.
Ten 0 Alabama. 3:14 remaining in the third quarter. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, instead of alternating quarterbacks here in the second half for Mississippi State, we're just going to see Tyler Russell. Chris Ralph injured just before the half, guys. That's a change of dynamic. No running threat for Mississippi State.
Let's see if Tyler Russell can get it done. They'll try to run it from the tailback spot, and that got all of 2 feet for Vic Ballard. Courtney Upshaw, number 41, in on the top. On the stop again. Those 2 linebackers, Hightower and Upshaw, they don't give up anything on the ground.
Is this Favre back in the game now? Yep.
Dylan Favre at quarterback. Fires it out, complete to Heavens, and Heavens bumped out of bounds after a pickup of 4. Favre was the player of the year in this state a couple of seasons ago. Brett's nephew.
Coaches tell us he's got some of that same moxie, you know, that Brett played with and carries himself with.
He's going to keep it on the ground here on the loss of a yard, as Mosley's done a nice job at linebacker tonight as well. And it brings up 3rd down and 5. Redshirt freshman.
I think it's 4th.
Oh, it's 4th down.
Yeah.
4th down.
I don't know if I agree with this. Your defense, you have leaned really hard on them the whole game.
Favre to throw on 4th and 7, and he fires it in there, but it's dropped. Should have been caught, I think, Marcus Green. And Favre is saying, oh man, I put it right where I wanted to.
Well, we saw a pass that Tyler Russell threw to Arcito Clark that should have been caught. Would have been a 1st down. This is a good throw by Favre. Definitely should have been caught.
Right between the 3 and the 2.
The only problem with that now is you give Alabama the football on their 47-yard line, and field position is in their favor again. They lead 10-0. They're going to go for more here.
So McCarron, who stopped on 4th down, and the quarterback sneaks, got it back in his hands, or will have right here on 1st and 10. A slip screen to Marquise Mays. He's going to cut it back the other way, though. Mays, 1st down, and a pickup of 13. Sunday NFL Countdown tomorrow, 3 hours with Chris Berman and the gang. All the latest news and updates from around the stadiums and around the league right up until kickoff. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM on ESPN tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Another big weekend in the NFL is Week 10, heading into the back end of the NFL season. Marquise Mays over there might have got shaken up a little bit after picking up that 1st down at the 40-yard line. And Trent Richardson on the carry. Man, they are swarming around number 3.
Well, you know, coming into the game, I think the Mississippi State defensive coaches and staff, they knew the 2 guys we have to shut down, contain. The 2 big playmakers are Trent Richardson and Marquise Mays. Mays coming into the game, a little bit of an ankle issue, but they've done a good job. They have really targeted those 2 guys and pretty much held them in check. Big reason why they've only given up 10 points.
Trent Richardson's had to earn it tonight. 54 yards on 18 carries. They fake it to him here. McCarron, now he's going to just flip it to him. Trent Richardson, another nice move in the open field. And he's going to be a little bit short of the 1st down as we check in with Reese.
All right, Brad, Oregon working against Stanford in the second half on ABC, 22-16. Darren Thomas finding Josh Huff. Watch what Josh Huff's going to do to Michael Thomas. Oh, that's just not even nice. Oregon's last 3 touchdowns have come from 40 yards or longer as 29-16 Ducks.
So Oregon giving Stanford fits. Last play of the 3rd quarter is right here. And it's a 1st down carry for Trent Richardson. Alabama's first third down conversion of the night. That's how good the Bulldogs defense has been. But they need some offense in the fourth quarter, or it's going to be a home loss. End of 3. Number 3 Alabama leading 10-0. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and Craig James will have the BCS Countdown show tomorrow night for you. They unveil the latest polls. Look at the contenders. BCS Countdown presented by Discover on ESPN 8:15 tomorrow night. Continuing at 9 Eastern on ESPNU. End of 3 quarters. 10-0 Alabama as we head to the fourth.
Alabama's dominated the fourth quarter this year. 69-11. They've outscored their opponents.
Penn State's the only team to have scored in the fourth quarter against Alabama on the year.
Wow. That was early.
That was way early. Here's a guy that can ice the game for you in one play, and he might be doing it right here. Richardson, touchdown. Unless he stepped out of bounds, the 29-yard touchdown. I think they're going to bring it back to the 4.
One of the reasons why Alabama has been so dominant in the fourth quarter, as you look at the replay, there's where he foot on the line, is because of Trent Richardson. I mean, he is a guy who gets stronger as the game goes on. And when he can sense fatigue in a defense, I mean, he just turns it on a little bit harder. Plus, he gets spelled every now and then by Ed Lacy, who's not bad himself.
He may not have gotten the touchdown on that run, but he might get another chance right here. Richardson bulldozing his way down to the 1. And again, I think he's still standing in that pile. Or at least leaning on somebody else. Second down and goal.
I think we should make a comment also that Alfred McCullough, who is starting at left tackle for the injured Barrett Jones, we talked about at the beginning, has done a pretty good job holding his own in there. You know, that offensive line as a unit of 5 guys have to play with cohesiveness, and he had to step into the gap tonight for Barrett Jones, and he's done a nice job.
Second down and goal just inside the 2. Trent Richardson's got it this time. Touchdown, Alabama.
And they ran right behind McCullough that time.
18th touchdown of the year for Trent Richardson from 2 yards out.
2 tight ends to that side. Watch out for McCullough, number 52, push his man right to the goal line, and Trent Richardson runs right off of his back hip for the touchdown.
So, extra point by Jeremy Shelley upcoming. And it ends a 53-yard drive with a touchdown. 17-0. Alabama now here in the fourth quarter. As we look at Todd's Taste of the Town for this week.
In 1985, Barry Wood and his wife, Margaret Ann, began serving homemade barbecue and sauce at a local service station with 3 tables. 2 years later, they moved into their present location, a residential house that's been added on to and expanded throughout the years. The place is a local landmark in Starkville and is known throughout the Southeast for great barbecue, and it's called the Little Dewey. My meal starts with a trio of family recipe side dishes: baked beans, coleslaw, and southern corn salad, all prepared in the kitchen by Nettie, who's been with Barry since day one. As far as my entree, pork that's been slow cooked in the smoker for 10 to 12 hours and is pulled by hand daily. Add to it some Mississippi fried catfish, and what you have is surf and turf, Starkville style.
Surf and turf.
Yeah.
Only you could come up with that one. Good stuff.
Oh, it's really good stuff. And Barry is such an awesome guy. I mean, just a great guy, loves ESPN, loves to feed us when we come over there.
Right.
And Nettie's been with him since day one, but he's got 8 people that work there that have been with him for 20 years. And so it's just a really great family restaurant.
Not only Barry had that great food there, his wife had some gift baskets for us with other goodies for our hotel room. Thanks, Barry. Now the return is Perkins. Broke a tackle. Perkins down the sideline. Does he have a chance? Perkins all the way down near the 20. Finally, Mississippi State got a big play. Ladarius Perkins with a big kick return.
Well, you're looking for a spark anywhere you can get it. Cade Foster tries to make the tackle, and Perkins runs out of that tackle. And a rare mistake by Alabama, not by their defense, but by their special teams. Not very disciplined in that coverage. And Mississippi State with great field position.
Ladarius Perkins, a 69-yard kickoff return, has given the Bulldogs some life at the 21 of Alabama. And now it's Russell. And yes, he can run when he needs to.
Boy, good read. Nice read. This is a zone read play with an option pitch also. And Courtney Upshaw, who's one of the best players in college football, was totally fooled. Watch Upshaw follow the fake, and that enabled Tyler Russell to get out onto the perimeter.
First and goal. They've been here before at the 4-yard line and came away empty. Ballard. Oh, man, what a hit by Barron in the open field. Guy can really tackle, can he?
Yeah, he really can, and it's fundamental. I mean, he does not slow down when he gets to the ball carrier, and he explodes through the ball carrier, and he wraps those arms.
Second down and goal. Mississippi State needs points here badly. 12:25 to play in the ball game. And penalty markers down.
Yeah, it's almost like
false start. Offense, number 61, 5 yards from the previous spot. Second down.
It's almost like when they get close enough to smell the end zone, they get nervous. I mean, they jump, they move, they miss kicks. It's a weird thing. I mean, I know Alabama's defense is good, but you got to overcome that.
They get close enough to smell the end zone, and they plug their nose. Second and goal. Russell fires, and they're in the end zone. Chris Smith, touchdown. So the Bulldogs, courtesy of that great kick return, are back at least in the hunt.
Well, that was excellent pass protection first. And then Tyler Russell stood in there and delivered a beautiful throw.
Extra point coming up, and it's good. Alabama's defense allows its first touchdown the last 44 possessions by an opponent.
Watch the protection. Extra guys in there, and then Russell sticks it right in between a couple Alabama defenders. And finally, the Mississippi State Bulldogs go the right direction, and they get points to show for it.
Tyler Russell, his 8th touchdown pass of the season, capped that short drive. Remember, it was a 69-yard kickoff return by Ladarius Perkins that helped get him down there close. Chris Smith with a touchdown catch, and the bells are tolling again because Mississippi State's back in the game.
Well, and your defense now gets a little bit of juice back because their offense came through for them. And, they're right back into football game.
Egan to kick off. This one line drives to the 9-yard line of Marquise Mays. And Mays dragged down as he got across the 30-yard line. We check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, time for Sports Center right now, presented by Discover Card. Penn State in its first game without Joe Paterno as head coach since 1965. Fell to Nebraska 17-14. There were poignant moments in the pregame as the crowd paid their respects to the victims. Jay Paterno, a very emotional postgame, and Tom Bradley had his team fight valiantly. The Nittany Lions came up 3 points short.
Here, Alabama's got the lead, trying to keep the number 3 ranking in the country in the BCS. Leading by 10 with just under 12 minutes to play. Norwood in motion. Lacey back in at tailback for Alabama. McCarron comes up throwing. And Norwood can't get to it. Mississippi State came in 5-4, only one win in the conference, but you know they were close in some games against top-notch competition. We mentioned LSU was 9-6 going into the fourth quarter. They lost a heartbreaker at the goal line to Auburn. South Carolina, they lost by 2. And, you know, they kind of look at it, and Dan Mullen says, you know, we could easily be where we were a year ago at 7-2 instead of the 5-4. And he's been telling his team, just hang in there. One of these times it's going to go our way. Tonight, they're still down by 10, but they're in the game with 11:46 to play. Lacey on 2nd and 10 with a cutback run. And look out for Lacey. The hurdle out to the 45-yard line. Another 22-yard run for Eddie Lacey.
Boy, Eddie Lacey looks good. You know, he's been bothered by a turf toe injury all the way back since the Arkansas game. So he doesn't practice very much during the week. But in the games, he's still able to get it going. I mean, that's a heck of a run right there.
Back in Bulldog territory for the Tide, just inside the Mississippi State 46. Lacey again, cuts it outside. Stiff arm, lost the ball, but it goes out of bounds. Nice hit by Charles Mitchell over there to bring him down, and the ball squirted out, but no harm done.
During the play, the ball was fumbled forward and out of bounds. It will be brought back to the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
And that's at the 43-yard line.
Again, another quick move by Lacey. Just eludes an unblocked guy. Caleb Ewell's number 92. Thought he had him in the backfield for sure, and Lacey just left him standing there.
Lacey out, Richardson in. On 2nd down and 7. Trent Richardson's going to lose yardage here. Deontay Skinner holding on to his legs, those big legs of Richardson, and dropped him for a loss.
So you brought up the point a little bit earlier about style points, and I personally think style points are kind of a joke myself. I think it's hard enough to win, particularly in this league, particularly on the road, that you take a win any way you can get it. I think right now Nick Saban is thinking, hey, let's be smart, let's be a little conservative, and let's milk the clock here and get out of here with a win any way we can.
3rd down and 9. McCarron throws it out to Mays, looking for blockers, but he can't find enough. Only a 1-yard pickup. And there's, as Todd said, the conservative pass play, and it'll force a punt. You can bet that Nick Saban has told his punter, get this thing down there and knock it out of bounds at about the 5-yard line and make him go the length of the field.
Right. You know, with a defense like this, if you make a team go 90, chances are they're going to make a mistake and you can capitalize on it.
Bumpus back this time as a punt returner. Both he and Banks have had punt returns for scores this year. This kick high, and it got to the end zone, so it's coming out to the 20. And the coach probably won't be happy about that punt either, I doubt. 9:04 to play. Mississippi State's got a chance. Trailing by 10 on their home field. We'll see what they do when we come back.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Discover Cars. It pays to switch. It pays to discover.
Bulldogs have got it back on offense. Tyler Russell, who threw a touchdown pass on their last drive. He's got to get another one here, and it'll really get interesting in the fourth quarter. Play action. Russell throws, lobs it to Green, his tight end, and picked up 7.
I've been pretty impressed with Tyler Russell in this game. You know, Les Koenig, the offensive coordinator, told us, you know, they really like the way he can throw the football. I've been impressed with his poise. I think he's been pretty calm under pressure. He made some pretty good throws.
2nd down and 3 here. Pump fakes one way, comes back the other, and a long ball on the sideline, and it hits the Mississippi State sideline. Let's check in with Holly.
Alabama's defense has sustained a couple of injuries, guys. Their big Australian defensive end, Jesse Williams, out for the game. He's got a right shoulder injury. He's got a sling on his arm underneath his jacket. And then D. Milner was being treated on the sideline, a left kind of bicep injury. He's been in a lot tonight in their nickel package, so they're starting to fall for Alabama. Looks like they've shuffled their defensive line to make up for that loss with Damian Square playing more outside on end. I also see Andre Billingsley in there.
Billingsley is in there where Williams would have been. And now it's a run straight ahead for Russell. I don't think so. Got close, but he's about 2 feet shy.
I thought Courtney Upshaw was lined up off sides on that play. He was awful close. He gets about as close to that edge as he can.
Well, it's 4th down and about the length of the football. Russell, I think he's got it this time. We'll have to wait and see on the spot. Looked good enough, though.
I remember Chris Ralph got hurt the last play right before the first half. The last offensive play for Mississippi State, unavailable the second half. So any kind of quarterback runs now, it's going to be up to Tyler Russell. Even though they're not going to run him a lot, can be effective in short yardage situations like right there.
Good enough to get the first down. Just outside the 30. Down to 7:45 remaining in the ball game. Russell off play action. Here comes Upshaw. Down goes the quarterback. Upshaw and Dial combine to make the sack. And let's check in with Reese.
Brad, we could be on our way to only 3 unbeatens left. Stanford and Oregon after an Andrew Luck fumble. LaMichael James goes in again, and the Ducks have stretched their lead on the farm to 20. It's 36-16. It's on ABC.
Here, number 3, Alabama holding a 10-point lead. Tyler Russell throws the screen out to Smith, and he's popped at the 30-yard line by Mosley. C.J. Mosley's had a good game at linebacker for Alabama tonight. Well, if you're going to go on a 4th down and 1 in your own territory in the 4th quarter, you certainly want to pick up 10 here on 3rd down. If you don't, you'd think they'd be going again, unless it's very long yardage, because they aren't going to get too many more opportunities. Comes the pressure. Russell fires, incomplete. And Russell's got to pick himself off the turf. Now it's 4th down and 10.
Well, Dre Kirkpatrick, pretty good position on coverage that time on Chris Smith. Smith was the intended receiver, and Smith was a little upset. He thought Kirkpatrick got away. Well, that's why. A little hand on the face mask.
Dylan Favre is in. They're not going to punt on 4th and 10. Or maybe they will. Now they're shifting all over the place. Now they do put Swedenberg back there.
Timeout.
Favre came out as a wide receiver. Oh, well, that was kind of fun to watch anyway.
Yeah.
6:32 to play. We'll see what they do in a minute. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Starkville, Mississippi, where Alabama leads by 10. 2 races remaining. Tony Stewart in a fight with Carl Edwards for the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase. We'll have the Cobalt Tools 500 at Phoenix for you tomorrow. 2 o'clock Eastern time is when we start on ESPN. On 4th down, now Swedenberg in the punt. And Mays has to backpedal and call a fair catch at the 26-yard line. Will Mississippi State even get the ball back again? That's what we're about ready to find out. A.J. McCarron is hoping not. Alabama leading Mississippi State by 10. Mississippi State lost, I mentioned earlier, to LSU. They went into the 4th quarter within a field goal of them, but they ended up losing by 13. Now they're 10 behind Alabama, and the difference between Alabama and LSU was 3 points last week. So they're playing 2 pretty darn good teams, relatively close.
Dan Mullen, when we talked to him, he said, look, you know, I know Oklahoma State can score, and they're pretty good, and they got ranked ahead of Alabama, but Alabama and LSU, in his opinion, are the 2 best teams in college football.
Yep. Smelly in motion now, sets up and whistles. Stop play. The flag down.
False start. Offense, number 87. 5 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Was the other tight end, Underwood, with a false start. The BCS top 4. There's the remaining schedules. LSU won today over out of conference. Western Kentucky, Oklahoma State, 60-point win on Texas Tech. Alabama, you see what they've got left. Georgia Southern, Auburn in the SEC championship game, maybe. Stanford, you know, we might be crossing them off the BCS list too if what's happening tonight continues to happen. Trent Richardson and the Wildcat is going to take it straight ahead. And again, it takes a whole kennel of Bulldogs to bring him down.
You know, the other team that you saw on there, not as one of those 4 teams, but Oklahoma State, their last game of the year will be against Oklahoma, the Bedlam game, and they just crushed Texas Tech today. And we were out in Norman when Oklahoma played Texas Tech, and
how did
still
they do
scratching
that?
my head about that one.
How did they do that?
Yeah, still scratching my head on
Bob
that.
Stoops is scratching his too, like you said earlier. Second down and 9 under 6 minutes. You see A.J. McCarron, the quarterback, out to the top of your screen as a wide receiver, with Trent Richardson about ready to take the snap again. And the Wildcat fakes it to Marquise Mays, runs it himself to the corner, and he's got a first down. Taken out of bounds, but looking for a face mask penalty as well on Wade Bonner. Doesn't get one. He got 16 more yards, and all of a sudden, with the last couple of runs for Trent, he's over 100.
Yeah, and a great block by Brad Smelly, the tight end. He and Anthony Steen, number 61, leading that play. They could have called either one of them on face masks. They both had to hold each other's face mask there. So offsetting penalties and nothing harm.
67 yards this half for Trent, and over 100 again. So even though the Bulldogs have made it hard on him running the football, he's past that century mark again tonight, and he's got 5 or 6 more right there. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, we see Trent Richardson getting stronger, running harder as the game goes on. He is one of the most well-conditioned athletes in all of college football. We know he's a monster in the weight room, one of the strongest on the team, but he's in such good condition after that physical battle last week against LSU. He had 192 all-purpose yards. I had one source tell me he didn't even have to go to the training room Sunday. He felt so good. Tuesday at practice, they said he was one of the guys with the most energy. He took all the reps. Just think about that. After that game last week, he was feeling chipper.
He's something else, and the guy that's behind him is not too shabby either. Much like when Mark Ingram was number 1 and Trent was number 2. Here he comes again, and fighting for a first down, and he might have it again. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the old Animal House deal, you know. When somebody hits him, it's like, thank you, sir, might have another. I mean, he likes the contact.
Oh man, watch this. He's had about 6 of these tonight where it's just leg drive, leg drive, leg drive, and there's 6 Bulldogs, and he comes out the backside of it. The first 3 quarters he had 56 yards, and as Holly said, he gets stronger late. 60 yards in the 4th quarter.
Alabama working clock now as well, letting that play clock get down inside of 5 every time before they snap the football.
Down to 1 that time. Richardson again. Jamie Jones holding on for dear life just to bring him down. With 3 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter, Alabama trying to grind out a 10-point win. Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers will welcome Adrian Peterson and the Vikings to Lambeau Field. 8:30 Eastern. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock with Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's. Longtime NFC North rivals having at it at Green Bay on Monday.
You know, it's interesting. Chris Wilson, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State, spent a lot of years at Oklahoma, and he even told us that Richardson has reminded him a lot of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And he was a Sooner running back.
Tell you what, that's saying something and giving some pretty high praise to this guy. And again, he blasts his way around 3 would-be tacklers. His 6th straight run.
Well, I totally get this, putting him in the shotgun. That snap was a little bit slow from Vlahos, and it almost ended up hitting Marquise Mays on the motion across.
Marquise did a good job just kind of jumping out of the way of that thing. And that saved what would have been a fumble. And now we're down to 2.5 minutes. As Todd said, Alabama using every second they can. They've run 4 minutes off the clock already.
See, this is what they say about style points. You know what? We're gonna get out of here with a hard-fought victory. We're gonna keep the ball in the hands of our best player. And
I had never seen this many runs in a football game where it took that many people to bring one guy down. Mississippi State is going to take a timeout here with 2:05 remaining. Time running out on the Bulldogs. Alabama by 10. Behind the workhorse of the night, Trent Richardson.
Who do you think's going to get it?
Gee, I'm going to say maybe Trent Richardson. He had to pay for it, I'll tell you that much. Cameron Lawrence in a head-on collision, but he's got the first down.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Here he comes with one of his hardest yards of the night. Met in the hole by the linebacker Lawrence, along with Charles Mitchell, the safety. And his first down, 8 straight rushes by Trent Richardson.
You know what? I remember a game a couple years ago, the year that Mark Ingram won the Heisman Trophy. A game in Columbia, South Carolina, same thing.
Yeah.
They put him in the shotgun, they snapped him the ball, and he just took control of the game in the fourth quarter.
Another tough yard before he's knocked back. In fact, he might not have gotten a yard. Mississippi State 2 timeouts left. Only 1:32 remaining.
Timeout. Mississippi State.
And there goes their second one.
Second time out of the half.
1:32 left as we take a look at our All-State good hands play. Any play that you put it in the hands of Trent Richardson is a good play, normally. As a receiver, as a runner with great moves and unbelievable power. This one he almost scored on, got it down. He stepped out at the 4, but a couple of plays later, he stepped into the end zone for one of Alabama's touchdowns tonight. And his numbers over 100 again, 7 straight times. A career high, though. That's a new part of that graphic. 32 carries. They've made him earn it. Todd, 4 yards a pop tonight and only 1 touchdown. But, man, when you get down to this point and you're just eating up clock, that's all they've done in this drive.
You know, and at the beginning of the game, I said, don't change the formula for Alabama. Play great defense and a steady diet of feeding it to the best player on the field, Trent Richardson. I mean, and that's what they did. And in the fourth quarter, it's his time to just salt the game away.
They give him a breather and let Eddie Lacy have at it. And he gets 3 yards. Mississippi State can only stop it one more time. And they are going to use that last timeout right here. Gives us a chance to check in with Reese Davis. Reese, what do you got?
Brad, been keeping an eye on undefeated Stanford against Oregon on ABC. Down 36-16. Andrew Luck, Jeremy Stewart. Luck's 3rd touchdown pass of the night. He hasn't been razor sharp, but the Cardinal hanging in as the fourth quarter is just underway on ABC. 36-23 the score.
So Andrew Luck is not, I guess, hurting his Heisman candidacy, but his team is losing. And here, Trent Richardson, who our polls have as the number 2 guy in the Heisman hunt, has over 100 yards rushing. And it's been a tough sled for Mississippi State in past years, in the past decade, in fact. They've lost 20 straight to top 10 teams, and number 3 Alabama is about a couple more either Eddie Lacy or Trent Richardson rushes from rushing back to Tuscaloosa with a rebound win.
You know, the thing about the Heisman too, and you know, I'm a voter. I wait to the very last moment to cast my vote. But you know, winning big games is a critical factor, and if Stanford is not able to win that game tonight, I think it really hurts Andrew Luck's chances of winning the Heisman Trophy.
I think Whedon will move up and Moore will move back too as you look at that top 5 grouping. Here's Eddie Lacy. He's got a crease. Lacy down the sideline. Ball game is now over. Eddie Lacy, touchdown, 32-yard sprint. Trent Richardson, and then give it to the other guy who's almost as good. And he goes for the score.
Yeah. He has cleaner pants, which means he's got fresher legs. And at this point in the game, way fresher than the Mississippi State defense.
Got some good blocking, and once he got that seam and got to the corner, he's got the kind of speed that not a lot of guys are going to track him down either, despite the fact that he's a good-sized running back. Extra point is good. On an 11-play drive, all runs, 73 yards in a little over 5 minutes, and the capper was Eddie Lacy's.
Alabama plays 3 tight ends. They all are good blockers. On this one, it's going to be 89. Watch him right here get the key block. Michael Williams kicks his man out. Lacy cuts right in behind him and then just outruns the Bulldog defense. But these tight ends for Alabama are excellent blockers.
There's Eddie Lacy. All 220 pounds have been showing the speed on the corner as well. In the fourth quarter, Mississippi State has 38 yards of offense. Trent Richardson has 71.
Well, they're a great football team.
Yep, they are.
You know, that didn't change last week with the 3-point loss at home to LSU. You know, in that game, they outgained LSU 295 to 239 yards. Their problem last week was they had 7 trips inside of LSU's territory, but they had 7 negative plays once they got in there, and they missed 4 field goals. I mean, they did a lot of things well enough to win that game, but made too many mistakes.
The last killer for him last week was negative plays in overtime. Yep. Didn't give himself a chance at the field goal. Perkins, who had a 69-yard kickoff return earlier, gets to the 30 this time.
Darius Perkins returns to the 30.
Alabama, a great second-half team, fourth quarter team, and they did it both with their defense and their offense in the fourth quarter of this one. Under 14 points in every game. You got to go back to 74 to Oklahoma, the last team that was able defensively to do that. And that was a national championship team too in 74 for Oklahoma.
You know, that streak for Alabama actually goes back to the Capital One Bowl game when they beat Michigan State back in January.
And Russell goes down, courtesy of Nick Gentry. And some of the backup Alabama guys getting a shot here. As we're under a minute, and Alabama will be going to 9-1, 6-1 in conference play. They've got the Eagles of Georgia Southern, and then the Iron Bowl at Auburn on Thanksgiving weekend. Russell going to throw it short. Ballard brought down by Hightower, and we're down to the final couple of plays here. So it's going to be a 5-5 record for Mississippi State. Some tough losses. They played very well tonight. Tough against a better opponent, but they showed a lot of resolve just getting back in this game in the fourth quarter. And that's probably going to be the final play of the ball game. 24-7. So the answer to our question about 3.5 hours ago, could Alabama rebound and shake off that disappointing loss to LSU last week? The answer, yes. 9-1 for Alabama, 6-1 in conference play. As Coach Saban and Coach Mullen exchange a handshake at midfield. And a 24-7 win for the Tide, and Holly's on the field with Nick Saban.
Coach, you told me earlier this week that you'd see the true character of your team with how they'd respond tonight. What character did you see?
Well, we responded. I mean, I think Mississippi State has a good team. They played a lot of good teams close. You know, I mean, so we knew this was going to be a tough game, and, you know, there's a lot of things we could have done better. But I'm happy that we won because our guys competed hard, too.
Coach, coming out in the second half, you said you had to run the ball better, but you started out passing it. How did that help open up the running game?
Well, the way people play us on first down is you got so many people in the box, it makes it difficult to run it. So you got to pass the ball on first down. We made a lot of explosive plays on first down passes. So that's something we just got to continue to work on.
Trent Richardson on that last touchdown drive, Coach, was just remarkable. How do you describe what he brings to your team?
Well, he talked me into going for it on fourth down because I really wanted to punt. So that was his call, so he gets all the credit for that. And but you know, he did a great job tonight, make some tough yards. Eddie did a good job coming in there as well, but certainly got a lot of things to improve on, but I'm really proud of the way our guys came out and competed in this game tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So Trent Richardson can run, he can catch, he can coach even at times. He had a great second half tonight, and he and Lacey and a great Alabama defense does the job. 24-7 is our final score. Sports Center is coming up next. The Tide rebound from a loss a week ago and win on the road here in Starkville tonight. For Todd Blackledge, Hallie Rowe, and our entire crew, Brad Nessler saying so long from Mississippi State. Sports Center is next.